and welcome back to Recall the Midwife. We are three super fans, and each week we watch an episode of Call the Midwife and we talk about it. I'm Becky.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jen. A reminder that this week's episode deals with adoption, terminal illness and death and dying, and abortion. So if those topics are ones you would prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one. In this week's episode, we meet Julie Schroeder, a 17-year-old with Hodgkin's disease, a very serious form of cancer. Julie's treatments have stopped working and is now receiving palliative care via district nursing, and Sister Hilda is tending to her. Lucille is also in the household as Julie's mother is about to give birth to her fifth child. Julie knows she will miss out on a lot of life milestones, so when the Ballroom of Hope dance is announced, Sister Hilda helps Julie to attend. The dance is a project of Sheila's in order to fundraise for a new incubator for the maternity home, and along with this project, Sheila and Dr. Turner are getting ready to let May go to her permanent home. Val is continuing to struggle as the fallout of her finding out her gran is an abortionist takes a serious turn when the incident is reported to Sister Julienne and the police. Val faces backlash from her community and her gran's case moves forward, even as the woman Val and Trixie helped opts out of involvement in the case. Meanwhile, Reggie is home in Poplar due to a whooping cough outbreak, which forced everyone to evacuate. Violet and Fred learn Reggie is sad to be home due to missing his girlfriend, and after pulling some strings, they are able to arrange for her to join them at the dance. Last, Fred struggles with a health issue. Phyllis finally returns to Nonna's house. Miss Higgins and Sergeant Wolf find a surprising connection, and Lucille and Cyril continue to grow closer.
It's so packed full this episode, like it's getting ready for the Christmas special, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Because it's the last one, isn't it?
Val has been sat outside all week smoking on the steps. She looks a state.
I was like, literally the same opening scene as the end. It's like, how long has she been out there?
Well, she's not sleeping. She's not getting ready. She hasn't worn makeup the whole episode until like the very end.
Oh,
she looks terrible.
Yeah, she did. And not because she wasn't wearing makeup.
No. She just looked. I mean, I think they actually gave her like quote ugly makeup. Like they gave her bags. They just like made her skin so pale. Like she just looked like she was absolutely devastated. Like,
so let's start with that, because there was a scene where Trixie was saying they have to report this to Sister Julienne and the police, and I was like, oh, awkward. And in the morning they go into the clinic. They're just not, what's it called, the bit where they stand and they're like, get ready.
It's like the
clinical room.
The clinical
room.
No,
but it's like the
they call it
morning like delegation or something like that. It's like where they get all their assignments for the day and talk about
there
everything.
Was a scene where Lucille reminded me so much of Bex, because Trixie and Val are looking a right state, and they're looking like they want to speak to. They say, we want to speak to you, Sister Julienne. And Sister Julienne, I'm sure, wasn't. She would have already said, like, what's wrong with you two? You look like hell. And they look dead serious.
Sister Julienne wasn't in the meeting, right?
No, but
she was in her office or something.
I think Lucille already knows at this point.
I don't. She said to them, what's wrong? She mouthed to them, what's wrong?
And then
that's what reminded me of you.
Yeah, Trixie did that thing where she just like shut her eyes and shook her head like, now's not the time, like I'll tell you later kind of a thing.
And you would have been like, no, what's wrong? Tell me now.
Yeah. Like, not later, now.
and then Sister Hilda would have been like, girls, and you'd be like, oh. Oh, it's terrible news.
So they
and Val seemed like she was like, she didn't seem like she wasn't going to report it, but at the same time, Trixie said something about, like Val is like scrubbing the blood out of her dress, and she's like, we've got to tell. And Val was like, oh, like,
I
really
thought it was Ash. I thought it was Ash from her dress.
Oh,
they've never made such a big thing of scrubbing the blood out of dresses before now.
Well, yeah, I think it was the Ash. I think it was Ash from a cigarette, because that fell on her lap, and then she was trying to get it out, and then she was scrubbing it, and then she tried to scrub again. It's Ash from week-long cigarette she was having outside. But she was, so they then, I think also it's more about the fact that it makes it real if she's reporting it. Like, I feel like she was kind of in a stasis when it wasn't reported. It didn't have to be real, but reporting it did make it real, and she knew she had to do it. But you're putting something off that you're dreading, because it's not going to be nice reporting your grandma's an illegal abortionist, is it?
Yeah.
No, but I have to shout out Sergeant Wolf, because he's the first person not to use the coming away klaxon, because once he interviews Trixie, he asks if the fetus was aborted in the ambulance.
Yeah, although
but they do use coming away later on in the episode, though.
We'll talk about that klaxon later.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Sergeant Wolf. So they had to do police interviews. It was so emotive, wasn't it? And they asked for a photograph from Val.
When she had to cut the photograph in half.
That was such a moving scene. So the police asked for a photograph. It had to be quite recent, and the only recent one she had was of her and a gran stood together, and she had to cut it in half to give it to the police. And obviously, the police were going to show it to Teresa.
But also, isn't that just like real symbolism right there?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well. Like
100%.
She's literally cutting ties with her grandma.
Yeah. Do you know what made me? So basically, they showed it to Teresa, and she was like, "Yeah, that's her." And then Sergeant Wolf went to arrest her, and she was like, "I've got neighbours." She's still very indignant at this point. Can't believe that she's been caught because she's still a hero in her head. And he finds a box with a dirty rag and all her implements in it. I was like, bleh.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing. It's not.
I actually saw a quote one time that really struck me for like a lot of reasons, but I think Nan's grandma, I think Val's grandma falls into this category, which is the opposite of knowledge is not ignorance, it's the illusion of knowledge. Yeah. And I feel like that Gran kind of is that person, because when she was in the interview with the police, she said, I have those, like, because Sergeant Wolf unrolled all of her like little tools and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what about this? We found these in your home and everything. And she said, well, those are for use on my, like, I have a boil, my carbuncle, like I have to do that. I've always cared. Those are the top quality. Like I've gotten medical advice about this. Like I respect.
Yeah, she got them from the pharmacy
like she was so defensive. And so like, no, she didn't say I'm a medical professional, but you could tell she was really irked. Like that was what she kind of thought she was, that she had given herself this kind of like she bestowed that upon herself. And that
I will not to defend illegal abortionists, but they're there for a reason. These girls were desperate. And there are some girls that didn't have botched times, did carry on having children. They did do them a favour at the time when they couldn't get an abortion themselves. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's great.
No,
for some people, it was good.
I get the system that created the grandmother's actions, but at the same time, you can't, like, it's...
If you're going to do that, at least train and then carry it out from a point of knowledge.
Do you know what? Actually, I want to go to university to train to be a legal abortionist, even though it's illegal. Someone help me.
Well, you don't tell people what you're going to do.
How am I going to get in a class if I'm not going to be like, which class can it be? Well, can I be in the illegal abortion class, please?
Here's what I would have preferred is if somebody like Val, who actually was a nurse, said, you know what, like I see the need for this, and because of my medical training, I'm gonna on the DL like risk my license and risk my profession to give someone proper medical care that I know they're not legally allowed. Like if a Dr. Turner had been like, okay, come to the house at like 10:30, like come over for dinner, wink wink, and then like Sheila and I will blah, and then you know what I'm saying, like
yeah, but at the same time, because he's a doctor, he wouldn't do it not in a surgery. They know the risks in it as well, like with other stuff that's not.
Well, I mean, doctors take an oath, like first do no harm, but that's the thing. Like the grandmother didn't do that. Like for as many women as she helped, she probably hurt or killed.
No, I know. I'm not defending her, but I'm saying maybe that's where her sense of indignance has come from the fact that she has, and she will probably have helped a hell of a lot more than she's hurt.
Yeah. Well,
what annoys me is that she's put Val in such a difficult position.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Because that
can't loaded really, but
for the purposes of the story, that is the first girl that has started to hemorrhage then and there. It seems as if in the past there's been issues, but it's been kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Well, that's the issue as well, isn't it? Because obviously it's so backstreet that they meet at a place, they don't know each other, they don't see each other again. So she probably won't know a load of pain of you know what I mean? She thinks she's helping all these people, but actually there's a load of pain behind there as well, isn't there?
Well, and once
she's put Val in such a difficult position.
Oh, of course, yeah,
but she doesn't care. I mean, she cares about Val, but she doesn't care about Val because she's as stubborn and as prideful as anyone. And then she's even mad with Val when Val is upset with her in the moment when they first go to her like apartment and everything and realize what's going on. Like there's really not any, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't really remember any moment or like verbalization of like contrition for what she's done. She seems pretty set, like, nope, I'm doing it, I don't care, this is what I've decided is right, I'm not going to hear any word about it.
Val's distant cousin coming to visit her and basically threatening her, saying, I can't believe what a turncoat you've got, you're a stuck-up turncoat who's forgotten what side she's supposed to be on.
I think they're just second cousins. I've worked this out, I've done a chart.
Oh, really? I put distant.
Because, well, no, so she says, you might be Elsie Dyer's granddaughter, but my mother she is my mother's aunt. I've said aunt really weirdly.
The grandmother is this one.
Elsie Dyer is her mother's aunt. Why can't I say that word?
So it's her great auntie. So yeah, they're second cousins.
Okay, so wait, where's the chart, Bex?
So I've assumed that Elsie's only sister is Flo.
Okay, so Flo had a daughter.
Elsie had Belle's mum. Is that backwards on the screen? Aunt Flo
so they're
had
second cousins.
Yeah, I think they're second cousins because they share great grandparents.
Yeah, they're second cousins.
Okay, right on. Okay, yeah. Oh, she was
anyway,
so mean,
but I think the whole point of that scene. I think that whole point of that scene was to kind of show the struggles, because obviously Val's not like the upper class other midwives or anything. Val's from the East End. Val's from where they say blood's thicker than water and all that. And they see her as giving it, because also bearing in mind, there's other people in that community who will have used her as well and see her as a hero. I know there'll be other ones who don't, but it's just, I thought it was very interesting to see that struggle. I thought it was really well done as well for Val to kind of be struggling with this whole situation. And then Teresa's not testifying, so it's even more pressure on Val.
Well, and let's just say this too, like truly this is a moral quagmire. Like there's going to be there's no right thing here in this situation, because it's just too tied up in like so many different things. So I'm not trying to say that there's like, oh, there's a right answer or somebody is completely wrong and somebody else is completely right. So just know that, like, this is the insanity that comes from this kind of situation. And
well, for Val as a midwife, there is a right answer, and that is she has to testify, and that's what she does because she's a midwife. She has to do that. Sister Julienne going to court with Val and Trixie, and then Mojo and Sister Frances turning up was just amazing that they had that extra support as well.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the messages that comes out of a lot of legislation around abortions. There will always be abortions, but it's whether there are safe abortions.
Right. Yeah, exactly. 100%. There's never going to be a time where women aren't going to need that service. So just deal with it and give them appropriate care. Yeah, absolutely.
And we do a shout out to Trixie, how brutal she was in the dock. She was just so angry and so brutal and just like, she shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah,
she was angry, and rightly so.
And yeah, I mean, it's hard. Because I mean, they've just seen the devastation, and that's the thing. Like, unfortunately, the grandmother, she's like, "Oh, I've had my share of tears too," but it's like, well, you're only on the front end. You know what I mean? Like, wait till those women come back to you, and they can never have. Well, they won't come back to you, but like, they can never have kids again, or they, like have like are almost die, or they die. You know what I mean? Like,
let's talk about that because she was confronted by Kath coming back.
Yeah, and I think that, and also Trixie talking about Jeannie and Kath testifying. I don't think she's ever been aware of what the implications of her actions have been before now.
Exactly. And that's why she changed the plea to guilty, because she was actually confronted with truth about operations she had done. I say operations, abominations she had done.
Yeah, at best,
And I loved it that there was no further witnesses, so Val didn't have to testify. I wrote thank F here in massive letters.
Yeah.
Also, just going back one step, you said about the look that Lucille gave at the start, and then there's when Sergeant Wolf rings the artist's house because he needs the photograph from Val. Did you notice the look that Sister Hilda gives?
Yeah,
it was all lots of looks.
I was thinking that would be us. Do you remember when there was that date and Chubby came back from a date, and I thought that would be us, just like running after her, being like, "How did it go?"
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, though, her gran, number one, a wig really annoys me. Someone said that on Facebook to me the other day and it made me laugh. But she acted scared really, really well. When she actually decided she was going to change her plea to guilty, and Aunt Flo was indignant, but she acted scared really well. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. The Gran is a good actress, actually. Like I felt like she really gave it what it needed, and the fact that I mean, she drew a lot of things out of me as I was watching it as a viewer, and I thought, oh, this is exactly what I want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want just somebody who's a straight villain. I don't want somebody who is just like, like this sympathetic Gran, like, how could she ever have done this? You know what I mean? Like, I could equally see her being a loving grandmother that, was really wonderful to Val, but then also like a really hard, tough woman who would have done the terrible things that she did without questioning,
Yeah, so she was a great grandma to Val for however many years, but while she was doing this, so she's a multifaceted person.
Yeah.
But also Val says when she testifies, like, she always had an oven full of banknotes, even when she stopped working on the market. Like,
and I never questioned it.
As part of I don't know.
Oh,
Val's
no.
Never where that's come from.
Yeah, but she never questioned it because that was always the case. Like,
well, and I just think too, like, because I, like I told you girls earlier, like I had dinner with my cousin last night, and we were talking about childhood and stuff, and like there's just so much when you're a kid that you just don't don't think about, you know what I mean? It just doesn't, because it's not, it just would go over your head. Like you're not even in a
You
position
would not
to
even
really
that.
recognize it.
You're just so normalized to it because that's just how life is to you.
Well, but that's the thing. Like when you grow up with it, that's what's the
Yeah, it's normal.
acceptable. Yeah. And
Like
so then it's
stuffing
like,
money in couches.
yeah, absolutely.
And we talk
Absolutely.
about Sister Frances, though, stepping up as well, because she went and spoke to Kath and actually persuaded her to testify. And Sister Mojo.
Well, she was the one who sorted the whole thing, really, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really love this pairing of Frances and Mojo. I really love that.
Can we talk about the pairing in a minute? But can we just go on just to finish the Val thing, Elsie thing? Because she got 6 years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they let Val go and see her in a cell. And my God, my tears, this acting between those two. And the fact that there was 44 abortionists in Holloway alone.
And then, I think that will have been, knowing how Heidi Thomas writes, I think at one point in time that will have been.
I think in 1964 that would have been, like, she's so all about accuracy, isn't she? But then Gran did an amazing speech about, until you girls with all your education can change the law, it'll keep happening, basically. I've paraphrased.
But also it's the fact that she says the men who make the law.
Yeah. So girls. Sorry, shall we talk about Mojo and Frances? You go ahead, Bex.
Well, I just loved the scene when Sister Frances obviously talks to her. And this is the first time I think Sister Frances has probably really spoken about it, because it's all been swept under the carpet. And Sister Monica Joan is going to act out again next week, just to warn you all. I have watched ahead again. But for this week, she was like, whenever she needs to be a support, she's there.
Well, she goes and sees Sister Frances while she's sat in Compline on her own. Not Compline, the chapel on her own. And I just love Sister Frances's expressive face. She's trying to do some dusting, isn't she? And she's just trying to dust and pray. She's really struggling. And Sister Monica Joan can see that she's struggling. And she wants to speak about the abortion of the night of it. And what she remembers, the night of when Kath came to Martha's house. And then she talks about the fact that she remembers the smell of the fetus as it came away. Claxon. Yeah. And then she talks about how the fact there's so much we aren't allowed to do. I couldn't shout or ask what happened to the baby. I couldn't demand anyone be punished. I cannot be angry. I was sent to clean the floor and nothing else was said. So Sister Monica Joan took it upon herself to kind of find Kath. She's like, I remember her name is Kath. I remember she was beautiful, and that there are women and girls who have to do what she did all the time. So then I
love the scene where Sister Monica Joan walks out of Donata's house, and then Sister Frances is basically just scurrying behind her trying to keep up.
So she finds Kath's flat at the time, which was hers with her sister. What was her sister's name? Do you remember?
No.
Judith, was it?
Sure. Who knows?
Well, she goes to visit her sister who's got the baby, and basically Kath doesn't really speak to her or see her anymore because she's just a whole reminder of what's happened.
Oh.
And that's why when Kath actually testified, it was really nice, because she was like, it's been in the dark too long. It needs to come out. People need to talk about it more. And I think I'm hoping for those two sisters, because they were so close, that this means that now she's actually spoken about it. She's done this in court. Maybe that'll help repair their relationship as well.
Yeah.
But it's heartbreaking, because it's, for them, they were so close. And yes, Kath always dreamt of going to the West End, and her sister said that that's where she belonged. But it's the fact that it's driven a wedge between them, when actually neither one of them is in the wrong there.
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, she says every time she sees her sister's face, she sees that bathroom. Also, they went to see Kath at work, and that's when they obviously persuaded her, but we didn't know that was happening. We just saw them go to see Kath. How much did you love that department store, Jenn and Bex, actually?
Oh my God, kill me with that. I want to time travel just so I can go to the mall and grocery shop. You know what I mean?
Other people would be trying to change history, and you're like, I just want to go to the mall.
I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I could time travel back to 1960s London, I would want to go to, Piccadilly Circus and Camden Market, and just the shoppy places and everything, and and then in New York, you know what I mean? If I could just walk Fifth Avenue and go to the garment district from way back, and all of that. Oh,
what would you do, Bex?
Oh my God.
If I could go back to the 1960s.
Yeah. I'd go to university and give them loads of facts that I know is true. I'd just be like, right, I think this. And they'd be like, oh my goodness, she's so clever. And I'd be like, and I also think this and this and this. Just do some tests and let's see. And then they'd be like, oh my goodness. And then basically I'd be a billionaire.
So you would just do the plot of Back to the Future, basically, where you would just manipulate
I
your
wouldn't go on a date
future.
with my mum.
I would buy stocks in Apple.
Oh, nice. Although, Jen, can I just say,
Yeah.
you mean like Biff betting? I'm talking about me creating ideas for it, like really amazing, like
You're stealing.
So you would do like Inception, but like time travel.
You know,
Inception.
I'm stealing it. The 1960s people wouldn't think about that.
You're doing the plot to that film about the Beatles, where
I've never seen it.
Oh yeah. So basically, the movie was Bex. Do you want to tell the plot of the movie? Do you remember the plot?
Yeah, no, I do remember.
Is it called Yesterday or something?
It's called Yesterday.
Yes.
Basically, the plot.
You know,
of the
my
movie...
cousin is really good friends with the lead guy in that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
he was
so funny.
in EastEnders.
Yeah, he's really good friends with him.
I mean, listeners, it's a really good movie. Basically, I mean, I wouldn't say it's gonna like blow your mind, but it is a sweet movie. But basically, the story is this guy, like I guess it's worldwide, but apparently it's set in Britain, and there's this event. It's like some like glitch, like all the lights go out or something happens. I don't remember exactly what the defining event is, but when everything comes back on, everyone except for a few people, like a very, 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 very small minority of people, are affected, and history has been rewritten, and some things just don't exist anymore. They just were never popular. They were just never a thing. And one of those things in this movie is that the Beatles were never a band that ever happened, you know?
And he's a struggling musician. So he's
a struggling musician, but he remembers the original timeline that he grew up in. And so he remembers all the Beatles songs. And so somehow they're like, just in casual conversation, he references the Beatles, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, wait a minute, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then he realizes that no one else has this historical knowledge of the band. And so he's like, well, hold on a second. And so then he's like, he riffs one of the Beatles songs, and they're like blown away. That's just like the best song they've ever heard, and they can't believe it. And so then he starts to exploit that. And
how do we know that John Lennon isn't from now, who's gone back to 1960s, 50s, 60s and done that exact thing? That's what I'm saying. How do we know those ideas we've got is not just me going back in 1960s?
I mean, I agree, except for the fact that like John Lennon probably wouldn't have died the way he did if he knew what his fate was.
He might have,
that doesn't make sense to me.
He did a lot of drugs. Might have forgotten.
Anyways, point is, yes, I did love the department store, and I loved seeing it, and I always love those scenes.
While we're on a tangent, you know, I said on the podcast, I was like, oh, I'll ask my husband what he said about the leg thing. You know, remember our old Anyway, our old friend from university whose boyfriend said he wouldn't go there. Anyway, I said to him about the leg thing, like, you know, would you still marry me if I had no leg? And he's like, you basically haven't anyway. It's like a fair point. So he's like, yeah. So there we go.
He's like, our marriage is strong. I still love you, even though you only basically have one functioning leg. Yeah.
Oh, I've got news. So I have my pre-op booked. So it's the end of August. So fingers crossed, I'll be having my ACL reconstruction September.
Listeners, wish her luck. We are pulling for you, Al. We really want you to get this surgery, and
I'm dreading
and then she's doing the Canadian Air Force routine every morning,
every day for a year. 100%. I'm telling you now, once I am fit, I will be.
Yeah.
Just you're laughing now. I said I was going to do a podcast.
No,
you didn't think that was going to happen, did you? Bex, did you think it was going to happen?
No, I didn't. I just humoured you.
But here we are, Series 8, Episode 8. Think about that.
I would like to try the Canadian Air Force with you, because I feel like I need to raise my fitness as well. I'll be honest.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll be honest, as if I've been hiding the secret from everyone. But no, I mean, you've gotten it out of me. The truth is that I need to be more fit. I twist my arm wide open.
Do you know, my knee's in a right pain today, and I've just realised why I walked to vote today, because it's the general election day here, bit of a behind the scenes. July the 4th. So happy July the 4th to all our American listeners as well. Happy Independence Day.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope we're still celebrating this holiday in future years. Oh,
maybe I'll go back to the 60s and give you that holiday.
Oh yeah, if we could go back to the past, maybe I would like take a pause.
You're looking around the mall you've chosen.
Oh, I don't know. I'm hoping I can alter some other history as well. Yikes. But yes, election day is very exciting, and July 4th is very exciting. So
should we talk about the Turners next? Because I feel like the Ballroom of Hope links into the other stories.
Well, May and Sheila reading in the first bit, because May's obviously been up in the night, upset, and she's reading a book to her. And I just have got like 1,000 crying emojis here because, the moments in night when you've like, my daughter's been up this week actually with a nightmare and they just feel so scared and so vulnerable. And you just like, you're so protective of them and you love them so much. And and it's just so sad.
Having to give up May, and she knows that she's just got to like put her feelings to one side. And it just broke my heart. It broke the heart that she basically, and this Sheila, I think, is basically you, Alex, because she's got everything going on and she decides in the midst of that to have a fundraising drive and create a dance which will be called the Ballroom of Hope, which is essentially what you've done with the PTA. You've got everything.
Genuinely is me. I've literally been to a meeting today. I've organised a Hawaiian disco that's next Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it broke my heart when May wanted a dress like Angela, but she wasn't going to be there. So and then when she actually left and they did the honour guard and all the nuns and the nurses stood outside Donata's house to wave her off. And then a little doll was dressed up.
I did think just make her a bloody dress to take with her. Do you know what I mean? Like give your doll one, but also make her one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she is doing it. She says she's concentrating on the maternity home and Ballroom of Hope is like, part of that. Yeah. She's trying to keep her mind off it, whereas I don't do that. I just do it because I'm stupid.
I also loved the scene between Sheila and Fred when they're both clearly stressed. Fred because of his health issues, which we'll come on to. Sheila because of obviously everything that's going on with May. And basically they just, when the mirror ball breaks, it's just those two in a stressy.
Yeah. It's like the mirror ball kind of represents everything that's happening at that time as well. Like this just gets to a breaking point and the mirror ball just represent their fraught mood, just smashing all over the floor.
Yeah.
Should we carry on the May thing just to finish the May thing and then we can talk about the other stuff?
Yeah.
So May goes, it's absolutely harrowing. She looked so cute and so heartbroken in the back of this van and they're there trying to smile. And it was just absolutely awful. And then they get a phone call that May's adoption broke down and the father's had a relapse. So they were so happy. So Miss Higgins is like, do you have enough petrol in your car to get to Chichester? We got Chichester right this time, by the way.
Oh, there we go.
I think I've got it in my mind now that it's Chichester, like it's taken so long. But they are so happy to get her home, and they get back in the middle of the night and they're like, wakey, do you know where you are? And she says home. And then they show a scene of her making a dress for May as well. And I was just like, you could have done that before she went, but okay. Which one are we doing now?
Well, we should say that when they get to the Ballroom of Hope, Dr. Turner dances with Angela and May, which was also very cute.
Absolutely
for the father-daughter dance.
Absolutely killed me.
Yeah.
So we also meet Julie Schroeder. So she's a 17-year-old. She's kind of crossed the Nanartin's path because she's part of the district rounds.
Yeah.
So she's been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. She's had treatment, but they've got to a point where there's nothing more that they can do for her, but she's got burns from the radiotherapy. So the nuns are going to be providing palliative care. But oh my God, it was just heartbreaking.
The other thing, I know this is off the point a little bit, but her dad, who's not technically her dad, but he's brought her up since she was 5, he comes back, he's German, Mr. Schroeder, and he's a glazier.
But what am I meant to understand about he was a POW? Does that mean he was a Nazi soldier?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
I was like, wait, why though? I felt like a weird choice to me.
People that will have been enlisted who wouldn't have necessarily fought for the cause.
Well, I thought when she was saying he's a POW, that the Nazis put him in as a POW because he wouldn't fight. So I thought that's why she was like, oh yeah, he was German, but he was a POW.
Oh.
No, I don't think that's what happened.
Well,
why would you be
less dark and talk about the fact that he had spam and pickle sandwiches there?
I thought that was nice because that's just like ham and piccalilli.
I don't like spam. Do you eat spam?
No, but I eat ham, and I imagine
would you eat spam?
It ain't ham, Bex.
Next time you come, I'm going to make you eat spam in front of me.
Spam is everything that is left over after they make ham.
Yeah, but I just assumed
it's
it was
all
like
the gross
sausage
bits.
in that way, which a sausage is very nice.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at to know. Like sausages are rank.
There's spam devotees, but I mean,
and we're not talking about the musical.
I think Mr. Schroeder would have been a POW in England,
right?
And I think he's just he wouldn't have been part of the SS. Like, he's just been somebody who's been enlisted. He's not fighting for a cause. I mean, he says when he talks about losing his sister, like, he's very much he's not part of the kind of the German ideology of.
If anything, he was a victim of it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I like, no shade to whoever wrote that, but like, you gotta give me one extra sentence of exposition on that. You know what I mean? Like, because it was just weird. And then the other thing too is, it's like, okay, he's her stepdad, but then like, what? Because I mean, it's 1964. Julie is 17, so that would mean she was born in 1947. So like, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. It just like, felt like it was kind of shoehorned in there, and I was like, why are we doing this? And like, it didn't hit for me. Like, I love Julie. I felt for her. Like, everybody was nice, but I was like, it felt like they were like,
for the fact that she felt a bit disconnected from him. He felt a bit disconnected from her because of that whole story with his sister. Basically, he had a sickly sister. He thought that she didn't need his love, but actually she did need his love there.
It almost felt like they cast this German guy, and then they were like, well, wait a minute, but wait, why is he German? Like, he's like, okay, hold on, we're gonna write something in that makes it make sense. And it's like, no, it didn't make sense. Like, he should have just been a regular British guy.
Because Julie was 5 when he met her, which means that he met her in 1952. I think he was a POW during the war. This is what I think Heidi Thomas was getting at. He was a POW during the war. He settled in England because of that. Julie's mum met him after the war. And just to clarify what you were saying, his sister died basically of hunger.
Yeah.
But so, like, who cares that his sister died? Like, that's sad. But like, why does it matter for the story?
Because it's saying that
I think when he met Julie, he saw her as a happy, healthy little girl. So what did she need from him compared to his sister? And I think now he's saying the situation where there's nothing more that they can do for her, like, he feels very helpless. There's nothing that he can do to help the situation.
I basically think they were saying, like, the little girl comparison kind of made him so he was not cold but kind of shut off because he didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, I get it, but there's already a lot going on in this episode. There's already a lot going on in this storyline. Like, they didn't need any of that. They didn't need it at all. Like, they could, like, literally, that could have been totally not a part of it, and it would have been a rich enough story.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this again, from knowing Heidi Thomas like I do, you know, we're besties. But from that place, we went to that talk where she spoke about the fact that she's so ridiculous. I'm guessing she's so, what's the word, Bex? Fastidious with how she is with all of her history and everything like this. I'm guessing this is based on a story.
Well, sure, that's fine, but like, and again,
and I love
Heidi Thomas, but like, why do you have to put everything in the kitchen sink into it? You know what I mean? Like, if she wanted to put this in the show, like, put it in the show. But it's sometimes less is more, sometimes more is more. Like less would have been better to me in this. Like, it got lost in the sauce for me. Now maybe that's my failing or whatever, but I just was like, this. It was not like. Whatever all that other stuff was, like, at the end when he like asked her to dance at the ball and she had her like little dress with the capelet thing on and her I mean, like, that was beautiful enough as it was, you know what I mean? Like, fathers and daughters already have a hard time, you know, like stepdads like already are a whole thing, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't. I was like, no, like, oh, like the mom is pregnant while she has a daughter who's dying. Like, it was just like sometimes just too much.
But I think by making him German, it showed that otherwise they would have to find a convoluted way of explaining that he was her stepdad. It was obvious because he was German that he was her stepdad.
That's a good shout.
Yeah, I suppose. Let's just agree to disagree. We think differently, and that's fine. And that's what the discussion is about. So, okay, next storyline.
Well, no, we're not doing next storyline because Una, the mum, has not seen a midwife for 6 months. So this is where the midwives come in.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Also, heavy pregnant.
It's equally as handy that he's a glazier and a glass merchant, so he can fix the mirror ball.
True. But also, do you recognise Una, the mum?
No.
Have you seen Afterlife?
No.
No.
You've not seen Afterlife on Netflix?
I think I've watched an episode, but not enough.
Wait, what's it about again?
It's a Ricky Gervais comedy. I say comedy.
Oh, where his wife dies and then he has to live life, but he doesn't. Yeah,
that's his wife.
Life. Oh no, I didn't register that. Sorry, I have watched.
Debbie Godliman. She's a stand-up comedian over here.
Yeah, I've watched the first few episodes of that show, but I didn't remember her.
I watched it. I'm not going to lie, guys. This might be controversial. I didn't love it. Anyway.
Now, I know Call the Midwife is a series about midwives and babies, but the fact that she was pregnant, I think really hammered home how much the fact that Julie was kind of missing out on all these milestones.
Yeah, well, the fact that she wouldn't be as well, ever.
Well, also, girls, like, I feel like I missed something or something because I just didn't feel like the mom was like, well, okay.
Well, no, the mum wasn't sympathetic because she didn't want to face up to the fact she was dying.
Well, she was just like, "Oh, Julie, like it was like your daughter is dying of cancer. Like, can you muster up a little bit of something for like it wasn't
that she didn't love it. It was the fact that she couldn't even face up to the fact she hadn't even gone to see a midwife. Like she could not face up to the fact that her daughter was dying.
They spent more time on the stepdad than they did on the mother and daughter, and I was just like, "Oh, it just wasn't making sense to me."
Well, I think it was that the mother didn't want to accept that there was nothing more that they could do.
Oh, yeah. And I totally get that. And the scene where she was like, "You'll go to the doctors as long as they'll have you go. Like, you'll get every treatment you can have until da da da." Even though Julie was like, "I don't want to go back there anymore. I don't want that. Like, I just want to live at this point. Like, I just want to like."
Oh, when they were sending her to hospital for the blood transfusion.
Yeah, and she was like, if it means I miss the dance, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, you know what, Julie? Honestly, fair enough. Like,
yeah.
I totally got that. All the nuns
were like that as well, though. Like, they were like, fair enough.
Yeah. And I actually felt like this was one of the best Sister Hilda times we've had. Like she to me really rose to the occasion with Julie, and I felt like she was so deeply understanding and sympathetic to Julie's struggle, and like taught her how to dance, and just like wanted to help her get a dress, and like the whole deal of it. I just was I was really here for Sister Hilda.
We've spoken about how we've not warmed to Sister Hilda, but she really had a moment this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
She confesses that she was a dab hand at the foxtrot.
Yeah.
She loves twins.
I love the bit where she says she misses a cinched in waist and then has to like caveat it by saying on other people. Like, who misses a cinched in waist on other people? Nobody.
I don't miss it on myself, much less anybody else.
I loved a cinched in
waist.
But
also, I just loved, like, she kept calling Julie Poppet.
Yeah. And that's a very new word.
Julie was the best part of that whole part of the show.
Julie actually went. So we've talked about the fact that she went for a blood transfusion and her mum was howling. That scene where her mum howled, crying, was horrendous. It was amazing, but very powerful. But her mum went into labour and Julie was there helping her.
Yeah.
I thought that was really moving.
A complete heroine there. She just. Oh my God, Julie.
But also, her mum let her hold the baby first, and it was a little girl, and she's got loads of brothers. This is the first girl that her dad's got, and she was like, "Oh, you should let him in. He's gonna love her." And I just thought, "Oh, that's like saying he doesn't love you."
Yeah, well,
no. He did love her because he did the disco ball. He just didn't know how to show it, Jen. And he did the disco ball, and then he took her to the ballroom of hope, and he gave her a lovely dance, and then. The dance where he lifted her up and she was laughing with the disco ball and all the sequins wearing all the clothes they got. It was absolutely moving, Jen, and he did love it. All right.
Okay, fine. Tell me my opinion, then fine. Yes, that's fine.
I think you'll find when Beth shows the sister Julianne, you told her opinion.
Look, I don't have any problem with how you guys viewed the episode. I'm just saying I had a different opinion. Like, I'm not saying he didn't love her at all. I just didn't see it the same way. It's okay.
Can we talk about the dancing at the dance?
Yes,
Cyril and
absolutely.
Lucille dancing. Did that make you swoon, Jen? Do you wish that was you?
Well, listen, I think we should rewind because I don't want to just jump ahead to Cyril at the dance. I feel like there was a lot of stuff before that. So, okay, is there anything you guys would like to say about Julie and her parents and everything, that whole storyline else?
No. I just loved the fact that he did the ball for her, the disco ball. That's all I loved.
The glitter ball.
Glitter ball, that's it. I always call it disco ball.
I think they referred to it as a disco ball in the show.
No.
Oh, okay, well, wrong again. All right.
Did they have discos in the 1960s?
Well, you tell me. You tell us, Bex. Like, you guys know, so...
Actually, I do think disco started in the 70s.
There you go.
I've just read a note here, Fred having Dr. Turner's hands up his bum. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
All right,
should we talk about Reggie coming home?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Also, how is everybody saying this? Whooping cough.
Whooping.
There's an outbreak now here, Jen, of whooping cough.
Oh.
I know 2 people who've had it.
Yeah, but you guys say whooping cough in America.
We say whooping cough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there an outbreak there?
Yeah.
No, in America.
We have had them, definitely. I haven't heard of one in the last couple of years, but we have had them, definitely. I mean, and whether if there may be one now that I just haven't heard about. So,
I went into the kitchen at work the other week and somebody basically hacked up a lung, and I was like, and then they're like, yes, I've had whooping cough. And I was like, it sounds like you've still got it.
Well, it's pretty contagious as far as I know. Why are they in the office?
His laptop wasn't working, so he came in to get it fixed. But I was like, you could have not coughed in my face.
We have learned nothing. We all went through a global pandemic and we have learned nothing. Like, this is exactly what we should have taken from the pandemic, is that if we're sick, we shouldn't be around other people, and we don't honor it.
Can I just say,
we don't honor it here
I wasn't
either,
very well last week. I worked from home.
Good. There we go. That's the kind of behavior.
What I do feel, what has come out of the pandemic, and I do feel for people. I was in the supermarket the other day, and the poor lady on the till went out of her way to explain to me that she had hay fever because people had been treating her like a leper all day, saying that, has she done a COVID test? And she was basically like, I've got hay fever.
Well, I wish your coworker had had the same courtesy. I mean, he didn't, because then he just said, I have whooping cough, which is also a really bad disease that you can catch and feels terrible. I actually got really sick when we had a whooping cough thing over here a bunch of years ago. Was it 10 years ago? Oh God, I was as sick as I ever was. And I had a cough for months. I had a cough for like solidly 2 months at least.
I didn't hide my disdain, though. I stepped back away from him.
You should have been like, Gerald, go home. It made him feel really bad about it. I mean, he's like, well, I think you'll find my laptop is not working. And so at least wear a mask or something. Wear a mask. God, if you're going to like just cough and everyone's
Someone I know came into work the other week and was like, I feel really terrible. I think I've got COVID. I'm like, why are you here?
Did anyone send him home?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good. Did he end up having COVID?
No.
Oh, well, still. Anyways, so.
Well, Reggie comes home.
He's avoided whooping cough. He's not sick at all. He just is home, and he's kind of bummed that to be home, basically.
And Violet can sense that something's going on. Fred isn't his normal self.
Yeah, he keeps taking ages in the bathroom and going to the bathroom like 45 times a day, and no one says anything to him.
Looking furtively around when he comes out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what's going on?
She knows that there's something going on with Reggie because he's not his normal self. She says that normally it's so lovely when he's home. Normally he's very uncomplicated.
Yeah.
But she knows that something is up. Cyril has just been to Nana's house and caught all the girls in their undergarments.
Which I thought was hilarious. That was the best scene. That was so funny. Because I didn't know if he was going to be, I don't know how he was going to react, but he just thought it was really funny. And he was just like, So
they've sent him away to Violet Buckle Shop to buy because they're basically making dresses for the ball. So he gets sent to Violet's to buy with a shopping list of things they need.
Also, wait a minute. Hold on. Before you go forward, Beck, I think we have to say, now all of our listeners probably watch the episode, so they know, but what Cyril walks in on is literally girls who are wearing like full outfits. Like, yes, they're in slips and stuff and bras and everything, but they are covered from like décolleté to their knees. I mean, he didn't see anything. Like, he really did not see anything. And it just was so funny because like Lucille jumped behind a curtain. Trixie like pulled her. I mean, Trixie, you could tell was kind of she thought it was funny too. Like she didn't seem that embarrassed about it or whatever. But
she's a fitness instructor.
Yeah, but
even Trixie, remember that back to the episode where Christopher had to stay at an artist's house because of the big freeze.
Yeah.
And
I think she just wanted to look sexy for him all the time. I think that was the point. She didn't want to.
Well, that was her boyfriend, yeah. So she wasn't.
But even so, it's very much that you don't see behind the scenes type thing, isn't it?
It is though. Maybe you two could actually do this. Jen definitely could. But like, I'm actually a bit like, I wish I could just, have a dress that I've made myself and like to my taste exactly as I want for an event.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you could.
I could. I will say it's hard to make a garment for yourself at times, just if you wanted to be as fitted as the girls had them, but they helped each other. But yeah, it would be really nice to have a garment that you made for yourself. Like
when we're the Golden Girls, maybe we should do that.
Oh, see? Yeah.
I saw a clip of people we should do this. I saw a clip of people at Glastonbury, and their theme for the weekend was that it was slogan t-shirts, but what they'd basically done was nominated they'd pulled names out of a hat and they'd basically made a slogan t-shirt for somebody else.
Nice.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like you would have to make a slogan t-shirt for me, Jen. I would make one.
Oh, and what were the slogans? Just anything, or were they things that the person would say or do, or something about them or something?
So like I just saw that this one girl got a slogan t-shirt and it basically said, I only get on my knees for Jesus.
That could be a good one for Lucille, actually.
I'm not being funny, guys, but that's actually, I could do that. Do you remember when we did it in the first year? I did about about 1,000 t-shirts for everyone with those pens.
I do.
I could do that one easy.
I kept that shirt for a long time.
I can't remember. Oh, we were talking about outfits and when we're Golden Girls. Yeah. Anyway, Cyril's been sent.
So he walks in, and Mojo's the one that lets him in. There's a box on the front step, and he's like, "Oh, there's all this stuff in here for you guys." She's like, "Well, come on in, like no problem." And I got the feeling that he was there he swung by because there was like a church service or something, and he thought Lucille might want to go.
There was a prayer.
Yeah. And so and Lucille says something to him, and then Sister Monica Joan is like, well, you weren't in dishabille when I left the room or something, and then now you've like all taken off your clothes and whatever. And so he's like, oh, and then she says, well, go and get the list and then take it to Violet's and get all that stuff we need. And so then he goes to Violet. This episode
made me really, like when you think back to when we were at university and we all lived together.
Yeah,
just like that moment, because it wasn't just the girls making the outfits, it was like the nuns being part of it.
And it was lovely. It was a lovely moment. And I felt the same.
Even the stuff with like Val, and as terrible as that was, just like the looks they were giving each other when there's drama.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about like even like Sister Frances, when she's upset and Sister Monica Joan walks in and sees that she's kind of not coping very well, like that's the kind of interaction that happens when you live with people, and when you're all in a big group and you're all kind of in the mix. Like it's very easy to all just like two people just end up together because they both were home, or they both whatever, you know what I mean. And
so they both write an essay at a certain time, or
absolutely. And I just was like, because I don't think of Sister Frances and Mojo as like naturally gravitating towards each other, but in that moment they did, and it was just a really sweet exchange. So yeah, those kind of moments I think are really lovely. Like it is the really nice part about living with a bunch of people, a bunch of friends or a bunch of family, and yeah. So sweet.
And I liked the fact that you could dye my hair.
Yeah, absolutely. I was dyeing everyone's hair. I know. Whenever my sister comes home or we're together, she's all of a sudden it's very conveniently hair dye time. So, I'm dyeing her hair almost every single time I see her, I feel like, but it's nice. We always like, bond over it. But then Cyril takes the list over to Violet's, and she gets really upset as he's like reading off all the stuff he wants. And so he gives her a handkerchief and just listens, and they literally sit down at a table and have a conversation, and she just pours her heart out to him.
Oh, no.
Which I was like, this just shows the kind of man Cyril is. Because when was the last time that you would think like, oh, this man you don't know that well, but you kind of do, that he would like, they would catch you in a moment, and then you would just all of a sudden just like let loose and just tell everything, like
he reminds me, I mean, we know that I love Fred, but he reminds me a lot of Fred, because Fred you give him a task and he just does it. Like they've just given Cyril the list and he's just unquestioningly just gone to the haberdashers for them.
Yeah, he's not been like, me, I'm not doing that.
But like I feel like Cyril is Fred, but with a little extra dose of like sensitivity. You know what I mean? Like Fred is very emotionally intelligent, very sensitive, but he's also a little bit more of like a classic kind of guy, and Cyril is just that extra kind of like soft sweetie pie type of guy.
But
I will
say, how much would you give to be locked in that shop with Cyril, Jen?
How much wouldn't I give?
You know what? When we talk about the fact that how amazing would it be got actual like people from the show on, imagine if we got Cyril. I tell you what, she wouldn't be sat there with wet hair.
No. No, I would not. I wouldn't say any of this also if I thought he could hear me. I would be like, no, pardon me, sorry.
Cyril's advice to Violet was basically to let the men talk to the men.
Yeah.
Men don't talk to men.
But these two did, because Violet gave them money for the pub, saying Reggie can only have a shandy, but she wants the change. Lols.
Yeah.
Fred was like, you've never, ever give me money for the pub. So they go to the pub. Now, this is one of my favourite scenes of anything ever. Sorry, go on.
But he's exactly right, because what do they do when they get to the pub?
Yeah, they spoke about it. And Fred's like, oh, I've got a problem with my waterworks. Reggie, straight away, go to the doctors. It made me absolutely lol. He was just like, yeah, go to the doctors.
And he's like, no, I'm not going to go to the doctor. He's like, yeah, I'll do anything but that. I'm not gonna go to the
It was just the way straight away, go to the doctors. Like, it was just so straightforward. And I was like, yes, Reggie, preach. And then they find out that Reggie misses his girlfriend, Jane. And he said, is she pretty? And he went, no, she's beautiful.
Oh, she
That
likes
is-
pansies, and she's got cheeks the colour of pink ice cream. That is the information. I just love Violet and Fred. I loved when he went back and she was like, this is all of the information that I would have known her.
Can I just tell you, that is the most man conversation thing I have ever heard, because I feel like this happens all the time. You ask him, you know, you're like, oh wait, what happened to Larry and Sheila? Like when you saw Larry, like what did he say? Like did they what's the deal with the breakup or whatever? And he's like, I don't know, we didn't talk about it. You were together for 4 hours. Yeah, it never came up. And it's like, how did, like, that would be all any group of girls would ever talk about. You would talk about it for the whole entire time.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. 100% true.
Oh my God, I don't.
I love Violet turning sleuth as well. So she rang the school and basically was asking about what, like, that's exactly what I think we all would do. Was basically finding out if she was, because also they didn't know if she was someone who worked there or was taking advantage of him. Or,
was there a safeguarding issue? But there wasn't. She's basically a resident there as well.
Well, she's another young woman who has Down syndrome as well.
Yeah, and Fred was like, no one can go through life without experiencing no pain at all. Violet, and Violet was like, oh. So then they did a letter writing to her. And that was again amazing. Reggie was on form. He was like, dear Jane, I love you. And they were like, no. It was just so cute. And then also she would talk about something else Reggie did that was writing. He gave a letter to Miss Higgins to give to Dr. Turner in his writing saying, Fred bladder sore, Fred sad. And I just absolutely loved it.
I said this to my mom when we were watching the episode, because though I love Miss Higgins, like, she is the craziest one, because like Reggie walks in, he has flowers, or no, he walks in with a letter and there's flowers and Miss Higgins has, and she's, oh, it's from a special someone. And he's like, oh, that's nice. He's like, by the way, can you give this to Dr. Turner? And she said, yes, what is it? He's like, it's a letter for Dr. Turner. It's very private. Like, please keep it secret. And she's like, okay. And then I thought she was going to just put it in a pile to like give to him or whatever. But she opens it in front of him. Okay, that's fine. And then she, in the middle of the waiting room area where she has her desk, she goes, Fred bladder sore, Fred sad. And she's like, all right, I'll tell Dr. Turner. And I was just like, oh,
yeah, but that is the way
with you. Like, you were just blaring out people's personal information.
But that is the way of a doctor's surgery. You go to the counter and they want to know what's wrong with you. Or
I hate ringing up a surgery.
Well,
and then being like, you speak to a receptionist who's not. They're not a doctor saying, oh, I've got this. And they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I want to just tell a doctor, please. And they're like, no, you need to tell me first. Some reception, like, it just annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. But again, like, at least you have to keep it like private in the conversation. You know what I mean? It's not like she's going to yell like, oh, Mrs. Johnson, like, I want to, okay, thank you for telling me that you have like a really terrible like hemorrhoid issue on your butt. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, like
better than on your face, Jen.
You need to.
Dr. Turner goes with 2 pies. Bearing in mind, he's in a lot of pain in this episode with May, because it was after May had gone. And he turned up with 2 pies to speak to
Fred.
He
still needs to be professional, Alex.
Well, no, I know, but he turned up with pies. Is that professional? Do you think that's professional? I don't.
No, it's not.
So I'm joking. It's fine. So anyway,
it's not bad. It's just not professional.
Yeah. So he gets Fred to turn up to his surgery, and he does a prostate exam, which is obviously getting your fingers up someone's bum. And Fred took it like a champ. I'm not gonna lie. He was like, "Oh, that wasn't too bad. I know people. I don't want to say who it is. It's not my husband or a member of my family. It's someone I know, a friend." But he was basically having hernia surgery, and he turned up for a checkup before, a pre-op before, and he said to him, "Just put your knees to your chest on the thing," and then he put his fingers up his bum. He wasn't expecting it at all. And he did the biggest yelp in the world, and basically was just like absolutely traumatized for life since. So Fred took it really well. But anyway, Fred didn't have an enlarged.
Well, they have to in these things. It's the episode with the smears as well. You have to. I mean, no one likes going for a smear.
And I'm sorry, men do not have to do as many. Like,
no, it's just he took it like a champ. I just think in real life he'd be a bit like,
and good for him. Yes, good for him. I'm like,
I did find this scene quite endearing when Dr. Turner says to him that, like, you survived your army medicals, and if you pass this one, you're not going to get shot at.
True. So anyway, he just found out that he didn't have like a tumor or anything like that, or a growth or anything like that. He had an infection, so he's just going to treat it like that. So it was really good that he did go to the doctors eventually.
Nice. Yeah.
Also on Reggie. So Reggie turns up to the dance, and Violet and Fred had arranged for Jane to come and surprise him. And she was wearing a pansy. I just cannot. And it was just absolutely gorgeous. And they were dancing and they looked so happy. And who else was dancing? We've not mentioned another couple who were dancing together at the dance. Nurse Crane was sat on the side. Who else was?
Oh, Miss Higgins and Sergeant Wolf. Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to that part of the storyline. Exactly. Yeah, so that's what we need to talk about now.
Because as we all know, Phyllis still has not said anything to Sergeant Wolf about her feelings. She got kind of a stay of execution because she had her back problem, and then she never really let him come visit, which meant she never really had to say how she didn't want to be with him. And so she's in the hospital, and she's kind of started to form this really sweet friendship with Miss Higgins, but Miss Higgins loves this very sweet, cute poetry style, the what is it called?
Patience
Strong. And so then Miss Higgins writes her a get well card, and she composes a poem for the card, but which it's
remember you're frail. I lolled while that was on.
It's kind of the classic I'm gonna bust out a rhyming dictionary and write a poem type of poem. And at the end of it, it says, when something remember you're not yet hardy and hale, remember you're frail or something like that. And she's just oh, thanks. And then she's like, well, is that she's like, okay, so that's another Patient Strong. And she's like, no, I composed it myself. And she's like, oh, that doesn't make it any better.
So happy that she did. I just love
Miss Higgins looks so proud of herself. And Phyllis admittedly it's one of those moments where it's well, I really like you as a person, but this is really annoying, but
I me and Becky with the Royals. I'm not into the royals, but I absolutely am totally, we've talked about this before. I'm her royal correspondent. It's not something I love, but I'll do it for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Alex says she doesn't love it, but she does love an event.
I love a scandal and event. Yeah.
Well, if there's anything royals are good for, it's scandals and events. So
speaking of royals, really quick, Bob's today said that she really voting. We took her voting because she wanted to come. And she was it was a bit boring, wasn't it? She's not as boring as the King's coronation. That's what she said. So cue Sergeant Wolf, who came to visit while Millicent Higgins was there.
Yeah, and he gave a card.
Millicent.
Yeah, but he gave a card from the Cubs, which
hang on, he says, it's not Sergeant Wolf, please, it's Aubrey when I'm in my sports jacket, which again, what a line.
Also, it's the fact that Aubrey and Miss Higgins have so much in common because he's bought Nurse Crane chrysanthemums.
Yeah.
And she says they remind that they remind her of a parent's gardeners.
Yeah.
And it just we find out that they're the perfect match for each other.
Well, he loved the poem. He thought it was amazing. He was like,
he read it and he was
I'm a big fan of Patient Strong.
And then Phyllis, who's doing a really unintentionally amazing job here. She's like, oh, I think you'll find that's actually not. She's like, Miss Higgins is a fan of hers as well, but I think you'll find that that's not Patient Strong. She wrote that herself. And then he was like, what? And you could tell he just was like, hold on a minute, hubba. And then
he said a poetess. And she said, one dabble Sergeant Wolf.
And then Phyllis was like, you could just see the wheels turning in her head. She's like, wait a minute, I think I know how to
get... if it was a look of actually, he doesn't like me anymore. I'm a bit disappointed. Or if she was happy, and I think I'm probably going to go with the happy.
Absolutely jazzed to hell and back. I think she was like, this gives me the easiest out I could have ever imagined my whole life. I am absolutely amazed, and this has worked out in my favor 1000%.
Well, also Miss Higgins getting the flowers. Yeah, go on, Beck.
Yeah, the flowers when Reggie comes to visit her, it's obvious that they've been sent by Sergeant Wolf, Aubrey.
Oh.
And they're also dancing together. And Nurse Crane, at that point, Nurse Crane is looking at, I keep interchangeably calling her Nurse Crane and Phyllis. She's looking on because she's obviously very satisfied that she's managed to escape his clutches.
Yeah. But also she cares about a friend and they are perfect for each other.
But this frustrates me with Call the Midwife, because obviously this resolves the Phyllis Aubrey storyline, but then just nothing more comes of it.
No. Something else does come of it.
Yeah.
Jax, you've watched ahead. How do you not know?
I've only watched the next episode. I mean, in life.
Oh, I don't know when. I don't remember exactly what the timeline of it happening, but
to finish off this episode before Heroes and Zeros, can we just go back to the girls' dresses?
Wait, before we do that,
go on.
We're going to talk about the girls' dresses. I have been coveting someone else's outfits in this episode.
Ooh.
I want Phyllis's dressing gown. It looks so cozy.
Oh,
you need to get a screen grab of it, and we'll put it on social media.
Is it like a chenille type of one?
It's like a mint green with a piping trim. It looks
right. Yeah. You're going to have to do a screen grab because I can't remember it. So you need to show us. I don't love a dressing gown. I find them cumbersome.
Oh no, I love a dressing gown. I also
I never wear one, but yeah.
I loved her green coat when she returned to Nanata's house. I would wear that now.
Right, again, screen grab it for the listeners.
I also, in next week's episode, loved Miss Higgins's coat. We can see where I'm going with my fashion.
We can. But also, you need to screen grab all these for references for everyone to watch.
I will.
So, Bex kindly sent us a screen grab of all the girls' outfits. We've all got it in front of us, and we're all going to rate which one we're going with first. So, who's going first?
Okay, so wait, how about we do this? Which one we quote like the most, and then which one we would wear ourselves? How about that?
Yes, that's a great idea because I was like, I really love one, but I would wear the one. Okay, I'd wear Lucille's. Because I hate the top of my arms.
Yeah, I absolutely love Lucille's. I thought it was the best outfit. That is what I would wear.
Oh, so your favorite and the one you would wear is Lucille's.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear any of the other ones.
But
I really love Trixie's, but I wouldn't wear it.
Oh,
see, if I had to choose from these three, I would. Val's was so glamorous. I'm just not a fan of that color. For me, that's just not a color that like speaks to me. And I do really like Lucille's, but it looks like they made her dress out of a flag, and I just I just am not here for that. I thought the same. I think it's amazing for Lucille, but it looks like, and I don't totally know what the Jamaican flag looks like, but that's what it looked like to me.
It's got some yellow on it as well. So if her and Val stood together.
Yeah. For me, it's like.
Maybe that's how they divided the flag.
Yeah, maybe.
For me, it's Trixie. I like her dress the most, and I would probably wear that one the most. I mean,
I'm wearing is Lucille's.
I don't love showing my arms either, but if I had to pick from those, because the thing is, Lucille's dress doesn't really cover as much, and I think I would I don't
know. It's very flattering, Lucille's. Anyway, should we do Heroes and Zeros?
No, I need to rank my dresses. Oh. Lucille's is my favourite. Val is second. I didn't like Trixie's. That's my least favourite.
Oh, sorry, I genuinely had already got that from you, so I do apologise. I thought you'd already. That was an official line.
Yeah. I like Trixie's. Like that kind of.
I don't love it. Like I wouldn't wear it, but it's probably my favourite out of those two. I wouldn't wear any of them.
I mean, none of these are dresses I would pick for myself. I'll just say
I mean, look at us ladies. We're obviously not going to wear these outfits.
Have you seen me? I'm in a stylish nautical top today.
I would love to wear a formal gown somewhere, but these are not ones I would pick for myself.
Okay, Heroes and Zeros. Bex?
My zero is going to be Elsie Dyer, and not because she's an illegal abortionist. It is going to be because she put Val in such a difficult position.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough.
And my hero is going to be Sister Frances.
Nice.
Aww.
Because she's very much I feel like she's been sidelined a lot throughout this series. She's new to Poplar. She's not been given responsibility. Because she's not been given responsibility, like she's not been able to kind of progress. But I just felt that she's kind of been told that we just don't talk about these things. We sweep them under the carpet. It's just how it is. But actually, she kind of advocated for the women who couldn't advocate for themselves.
100%. My zero is going to be Val's second cousin. What a bitch.
That's another good one. Yeah.
Piling more pressure on poor Val, who was already at her wit's end. It was awful. And she had to try and be professional. It was horrendous in a professional environment as well. Lucille was a badass for that. And I was nearly going to give Lucille the hero. But my hero is going to be Kath for testifying in that awful situation after she tried to move on with her life, but she still went back to it and went through it again. And well done her for bringing justice there.
Absolutely. Okay, my zero is gonna be, I'll go with May having to leave and then coming back, because though I was really glad that she got reunited with the Turners, like that was just a lot of that was just a lot. And I just feel like, I don't know. I wish that she just could have stayed. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard for them to say goodbye. And like, I know they were happy to get her back, but like, then May is kind of turned upside down and everything. And I don't know. That just seems like a lot of emotional turmoil for a child and for a family. And I was glad that it had a happy outcome. And I love seeing Dr. Turner dancing with the two girls, but I don't know. I just thought that was kind of, that was just a roller coaster I just didn't really want to go on. And then I want to give my hero to Julie, because I just thought she was such a brave young woman. And I just feel like, knowing what she's facing and what she's going through, I just thought she was just a wonderful person, and she helped her mom, and she, wanted to go to the dance, and I just really liked her a lot. And she had those poor burns, and she was gorgeous. She was so brave. She was so brave. Yeah. And just such a sweet person. So
sorry.
Yeah. I'll do an honorable mention after you. Sorry, go ahead.
I want to do a special mention to Mojo for being so emotionally intelligent and kind.
Yes. Yes. And on a much, much, much lighter note, I have to give an honorable mention to Cyril, my favorite, because he was so flirty when he said to Lucille, "You look so beautiful in that dress, but I prefer you in your undergarments." Whoa!
I genuinely put a note being like, Jen wishes that was her. I've said that for every time Cyril's on, Jen wishes that was her.
So flirty and cute, and it was kind of a racy thing to say, both to Lucille and also in the show, and I was just like, oh, like, for as sweet as Cyril is and like kind of soft spoken and everything, like he's definitely got kind of a a racier side, and I just thought that was very cute for them as a couple.
Well, he's definitely not going to be friend zoned if that's the way he acts. Yeah. So next week, we are doing the Christmas special. So if you'd like to watch it and listen along with us, that would be fantastic. Absolutely. In the meantime, follow us on Instagram, X, Threads, Facebook. Send us an email. We're doing a listener special as well. Not this episode, but the episode after coming up. So if you want to send us any questions or emails, send it to recallthemidwife@gmail.com. We're happy to answer any questions you have, anything you want to tell us. Please send as much as you can. That'd be amazing. I do have some more content to do. We're not begging for it, so it's fine if you don't want to this time, but please send it through because that'd be great. And thank you so much for listening.
Yes. Sorry. Bye. I don't know why I said yes. Bye.